Namaste, welcome to STV News. International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Raffins 54వ వ్యవస్థాపక దినోత్సవం ఘనంగా జరిగింది. సంగారెడ్డి జిల్లా పటాన్చెరులోని ICRISAT గ్లోబల్ హెడ్ క్వార్టర్స్ లో 54వ వ్యవస్థాపక దినోత్సవ వేడుకలు పలు కార్యక్రమాలు చేపట్టారు. వ్యవసాయ ఆవిష్కరణ నిలకడగల భవిష్యత్తును రూపొందించడానికి 5 దశాబ్దాల విజయాలను ఉపయోగించడం అనే థీమ్ తో జరుపుతున్నారు. ICRISAT డైరెక్టర్ జనరల్ డాక్టర్ హిమాన్షు పఠాక్ మీడియాతో మాట్లాడారు. 28 మార్చి 1972న స్థాపించబడిన ICRISAT ఆసియా సబ్ సహారా ఆఫ్రికాలో 2.1 బిలియన్ల ప్రజలను ప్రభావితం చేసిందన్నారు. ఆకలి, పోషకాహార లోపం, పేదరికం, పర్యావరణ క్షీణత వంటి క్లిష్టమైన సవాళ్లను ఎదుర్కొంటూ పొడి భూముల వ్యవసాయ ఆహార వ్యవస్థలను మార్చే లక్ష్యంతో స్థిరంగా ఉందన్నారు. ఈ మైలురాయి ఈవెంట్ డ్రై ల్యాండ్ కమ్యూనిటీలపై ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ 5 దశాబ్దాల ప్రభావాన్ని జరుపుకుంటుంది. మా తాజా ఆవిష్కరణలను ప్రదర్శిస్తుందన్నారు. స్థిరమైన వ్యవసాయ అభివృద్ధికి ముందు చూపు దృష్టిలో ICRISAT పనిచేస్తుందని చెప్పారు. ICRISAT వ్యవస్థాపకులు పలువురు ప్రముఖులు ప్రసంగించారు.
What are the specific things that India is facing, Indian agriculture is facing, and how ICRISAT could help? ICAR institutions are already working in several of them. How actually, what's your agenda there, and what's your synergies with them?
Thank you very much.
Fallow systems where there's residual moisture, maybe even in potato fallow systems, there might be even nutrients left over. Where can some of our crops also be placed into those to be able to actually increase the overall crop productivity on a unit basis per cropping season? So there are all kinds of ways we can use these technologies, again, across digital agriculture. In this case, it's more about geospatial sciences to find out those new ways of increasing productivity.
We'll be having a special media lunch, and this won't be our only engagement. There'll be future engagements and opportunities to speak to the leadership team and indeed scientists on different developments as ICRISAT developments. So once again, thank you very much, and look forward to having a lovely interaction over lunch. All the best. Thank you.
Here within ICRISAT, to actually start to look for those new traits in ways that we never would have been able to do before. So through machine learning, through reinforcement learning, we have terabytes of data. Now it's for us to find those very unique, not only to find those traits, but then to develop them, to put them into the varieties that we're looking for. More generally, if I may, around this whole aspect of digital analysis, so whether it's geospatial sciences, we're working with the government of Telangana with respect to crop insurance and how to make that more efficient. So we're trying to find these very specific areas where the tools will be beneficial to the farmers here in Telangana, within India, and of course across all of the geographies that we work. If I can as well, and the Director General has provided a superb overview. Through a gift of the Government of India, here on this campus, we have facilities around climate adaptation where we can create and test the crops of the future. So we can change the levels of CO2, we can change the way the precipitation, another thing that the Director General has spoken about. So we can take this rich variety of crops that we are producing here and test them in what we think will likely be the conditions of the future. So the Director General's point about innovation and science is very much spot on.
Mr. Patrick, questions? Congratulations, sir, on taking over. And also congratulations for the foundation there. And the auspicious for Telugus also. Day after tomorrow is our New Year.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So very happy New Year to all of you.
See, my question is, you headed ICAR and there also.
It was not released by last 1 or 2 years or 3 years. Of course, we want that farmers should not be growing varieties more than 5 years old or latest by 10 years old. But of course, still there are varieties which have been released earlier, but still farmers are growing because of some of their good qualities. But varieties as well as technologies are reaching. Constant is we have to expedite. It should not take 5 years or 6 years. It should take 2 years or 3 years or so. So in our new seed program, we are working on this aspect also. How quickly we will be able to take the seeds to the farmers. For example, pigeon pea hybrid I talked about, pigeon pea variety I talked about. Similarly for other varieties as well as hybrids. We are trying to see how within 2-3 years we will be able to reach to the farmers, to a large number of farmers. So this is what we are trying to do.
So you
It's very good for soil, goes to atmosphere as carbon dioxide. So soil becomes poorer and poorer in terms of organic carbon or in terms of soil health and water again becomes scarce. It is not that total amount of rainfall is going to be less. It could be same or it could be even more. But the distribution of rainfall is going to be impacted. So you might be receiving same rain, but then when and how much you are going to receive is a big question. Probably for last few years we have observed that in half an hour period we are receiving 100 millimeter or 200 millimeter rain. Now rainfall is important for crops, and particularly for dryland crops, because these crops are hungry, as I said, soils are hungry. But then if the distribution of rainfall is not good, if a particular area receives more than 100 millimeter rainfall in 1 hour, then instead of helping the crop, that rainfall is going to create more problem for them. It is going to create flood, it is going to cause erosion, it is going to damage the crops and so on. Now all of these things we are observing. And to address all these things, only thing will be new technologies and new science. Developing varieties which are resilient to increased temperature. Developing varieties which will be able to grow in less water, so we call them drought resistant varieties. Even flood resistant varieties. So varieties and then management practices. For example, if there is flood and the whole field is going to be inundated with water, so that broad bend and furrow methods, so those kinds of technologies which this institute is working with many others. So science, new technologies, better weather advisory and real-time weather advisory. And again, this institute is working on some of those aspects. Better pest management, better abiotic stress management. So these are some of the ways. So again, just to repeat, science and technology can really help in getting some of these issues resolved. But then there is Indian Council of Agriculture Research. It works for all the crops from the whole country, but also in a way help the other countries to the extent possible. So they work for rice, wheat, maize, and this. I'm not going to discuss all those things. How ICRISAT can help. Now, before Indian agriculture, there are some very important issues. One is pulse. Still we are importing a good amount of pulses. It is not that the productivity of pulses has not increased over the years. It has increased, but the requirement has gone up. Second importing commodity for this country is oilseed. Third important crop is our millets. As you know, 2023, India proposed to the United Nations to celebrate that particular year as the International Year of Millets, and then the United Nations agreed, and for the whole year we promoted millet. These three groups of crops, millet, again a group of crops, pulses as well as oilseed, India really needs to increase its productivity for its own purpose, to reduce the import, to become self-sufficient, and also to the extent possible to help our African neighbors, African countries, of some of these things. So fortunately, ICRISAT works on these three groups of crops. So for pulses, our focus, for example, pigeon pea, which is again a commodity which India is importing a sizable amount from different countries. So 2 or 3 good developments which are going to happen, and as I said, we always work in close collaboration with ICRISAT in this country and other large partner of different countries. So now we have developed varieties of pigeon pea which are shorter in duration, which are photoinsensitive and also thermoinsensitive, can be grown in poor areas but giving yield at least 20 to 25% more. Those varieties are almost ready and we are going to do this. Another very important development is pigeon pea hybrid, which is quite an advanced stage in release. Now if we release this particular hybrid, again the yield will be going up by around 20 to 25%. And our process is this: we develop the variety. Then, in ICR, there is a system which we call as ACRIT, All India Coordinated crop improvement project. So they have got several stations all over the country. So they test those fertilizers in different parts of the country, different agroclimatic zones. And then wherever these varieties perform better, these varieties are released for those areas. So in pigeon pea, variety as well as hybrid is ready, and once these go to the farmers, then the productivity will be increased by around 20 to 25%. That will be helping in a big way to increase productivity and Atmanirbharata, which we say self-sufficiency. In pulses, it will be contributed in a big way. So in a large scale. So what kind of policy support, what kind of incentives, what kind of training and skill development should be there? This is one challenge. Of course, ICRISAT is trying along with our partners to help national government as well as state governments to the action process.
So actually you have preempted the process.
Oh yeah.
See, you have released some 1,200 varieties over a period
Over
of
the
time. Actually, how many of them are blockbusters? Kind of, how many of them have actually